what the hell? A week off between videos? What? I thought we were doing really well and I took a break. You know who else was doing really well and then took a week off? The San Jose Sharks. Hey, you don't call me the Sharks. Why are you trading Joe Thornton, Steve? Woo! Are you just gonna get hammered? Get me a toaster. Magic Angel Robot from Winnipeg.
What the hell are you talking about?
This team is ruining my life. Hi Internet! Need a break from the World Cup talk? Well, too bad! Don't let the title of this video fool you. It has nothing to do with the NHL Awards. So about Team Costa Rica, in my opinion, I would never do that. Now everyone's all in a tizzy about, oh my god, the draft is coming up, and maybe I should be too because I'm going to it. That's right, Philadelphia. With a Sidney Crosby jersey on! Just kidding, I really value my life. And people are freaking out not just about the picks that are going to be made, but also the trades that are going to happen. Oh my god, Thornton, oh my god, Spezza, oh my god, Kessler. What about free agency? Well, what about free agency? What about the draft? Let's cross that bridge in like a couple days. In the meantime, did you know that the NHL Awards are on Tuesday? As in Tuesday, June 24th? Because if you're gonna have an award show, you'll want to do it on a Tuesday. Very quickly, I want to talk about the nominees. And of course, who's gonna win and who should win in your opinion. And in my opinion, IMO, IMHO. So what do we got? First of all, part of the voting process for the NHL Awards is the PHWA, the Pro Hockey Writers Association. And this year, I was still not a part of it. But for fun, this year some bloggers did a thing called the PHBA, the Pro Hockey Bloggers Association, and I was a part of that. So I'll tell you the nominees for the awards and who I voted for. First, let us start with the Calder Memorial Trophy for Rookie of the Year. We all know who's gonna win it, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk anyway. The nominees are Andre Palat from the Tampa Bay Lightning, Tyler Johnson from the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Nathan MacKinnon from the Colorado Avalanche. My nominees from 1 to 5, Nathan MacKinnon, Jacob Trouba from the Winnipeg Jets, Torrey Krug from the Boston Bruins, Andre Palat, and Hampus Lindholm from the Anaheim Ducks. The Calder just always seems to be a sea of forwards. It's whoever scores the most. And defense kind of get left out. And I picked 3 defensemen in my top 5 who score a lot, so never mind. But all 3 of Trouba, Krug, and Lindholm deserve to be in the mix, and I didn't even put in Oli Mata, he really should be. And I didn't include Tyler Johnson either, but it's really not a diss against him, it was just a strong crop. And again, let's face it, Nathan MacKinnon. He's a teenager! I mean, it's kind of good that the Colorado Avalanche didn't win the Stanley Cup this year. They always dump champagne into that thing. What would MacKinnon drink? He's not even of age yet. Unless the Colorado Avalanche, coached by Patrick Waugh, play Montreal in the final, and then win the Stanley Cup on Montreal ice. Oh my goodness. Of course, that didn't happen. I'm wasting time, Nathan MacKinnon for the Calder. Next, the Frank J. Selke Award for the Best Defensive Forward, aka the Corsi Award. That is quickly what it's becoming, isn't it? The best two-way forward in the game, generally speaking, has good possession stats. But they also play with desire and grit and get in the dirty areas. Man, it's almost like players with good possession stats are really good. The nominees are Anze Kopitar, Patrice Bergeron, and Jonathan Toews. I also had those 3, and I threw in Joe Pavelski and Sean Couturier, but really, it's those 3. I mentioned that this is the Corsi Award. Patrice Bergeron, best Corsi player in the entire NHL. When he was on the ice at 5-on-5, 1,157 shots were directed at the opponent's net. Just 733 against for a league-leading 61.2 Corsi for percentage. Anze Kopitar was 3rd in this department, Jonathan Toews 7th. Then you start looking at points and this and that. We can get into a debate of who is the better player, who you would rather have, but the best defensive forward in hockey right now is Patrice Bergeron. Anze Kopitar can just chill at the side like, it's cool, we won the cup. Jonathan Toews is like, yeah, it was their turn anyway, we'll play swapsies. And Patrice Bergeron's like, we won that thing too! Consider this, the last 5 Stanley Cups awarded were spread amongst just 3 teams. And Patrice Bergeron, Jonathan Toews, Anze Kopitar play for those 3 teams. You need the puck, it's a good thing. You also need to stop the puck, which is why we go to the Vezina Trophy. The nominees are Toronto Maple Leafs draft pick Tuukka Rask, Semyon Varlamov, and Ben Bishop. I had those 3, and I also included Carey Price and Jonathan Bernier. I picked Carey Price because major props to Dustin Tokarski for how he did in the playoffs, but this is a regular season award, and I don't even know if the Habs make the playoffs without Price. And without Jonathan Bernier stopping all sorts of pucks, I think the Leafs end up picking top 10 in this upcoming draft. Sorry, what was it? No, wow, really? They sucked up at my team sucks. It's tough for me. It's really tough because Tuukka Rask makes the Bruins a President's Trophy winning team. Without him, the Bruins are still the Bruins minus the goaltending. Goaltending obviously very important, but the Bruins are not healthy helpless without Rask. And then I look at Semyon Varlamov in Colorado, and oh dear. While you're busy being mesmerized by Matt Duchene and Nathan McKinnon and Landeskog, and hey, the Avs can do a lot of very impressive things up front, but wow, do they get lit up. Without Varlamov, they do not finish top 5 in the NHL, I tell you that much. And what happens to the Tampa Bay Lightning without Ben Bishop? Ask Anders Lindback. If you want to catch him, he's actually still wandering around the Bell Center looking for his jock. For me, any of those guys can win. Strictly for the President's Trophy angle, I think I'd go with Rask. How about we go nice with the Lady Byng? The award for the most gentlemanly player. The nominees are Ryan O'Reilly, Patrick Marleau, and Martin St. Louis. I had Ryan O'Reilly, Matt Duchene, Franz Nielsen, Marcus Johansson, and Tyler Seguin. I mean, really, you just look at some of the top scorers with the least amount of penalty minutes. Really nothing against St. Louis, really nothing against Marleau, to be honest. And this was another one where I was like, oh, I wish I could nominate that guy, I wish I could do that, but it really didn't matter because it's Ryan O'Reilly's award, let's face it. The guy played as well as Ryan O'Reilly does, and he had 1 penalty. 1. And he was so close to the end of the season when he took it. You couldn't go like a few more games, Ryan. I think that's what's holding up the contract talks right now. You should give my client a lot of money. He doesn't take any penalties. Well, there was this one. He's a loose cannon, you're right. It's Ryan O'Reilly, come on. Now the Jack Adams Trophy for the Coach of the Year. We got Patrick Waugh, Mike Babcock, and John Cooper. I had Babcock, Ken Hitchcock, Cooper, Waugh, and Daryl Sutter. Everyone's jumping on the Patrick Waugh bandwagon, and maybe he deserves to win the Jack Adams in his first year as an NHL coach. And you go, wow, they weren't even that good of a team. It was the goalie that saved their ass. Well, maybe Patrick Waugh helped that goalie. But for me, it's very hard not to give this award to Mike Babcock. Because even though they were one and done in just a 5-game first-round series against Boston, the Grand Rapids Griffins made the playoffs. The Red Wings roster was decimated this year. Defense, offense, goaltending, and they still made it somehow by the skin of their teeth, but they made it. So that's my choice. What's yours? As long as we're on the subject of Detroit, the Norris Trophy for Defenseman of the Year. The nominees are Duncan Keith, Zdeno Chara, and Shea Weber. I had Duncan Keith, Zdeno Chara, Erik Karlsson, Alex Pietrangelo, and Nicholas Kronwall. Kronwall did not get a lot of votes, and I don't think he deserves to win it, but let me tell you why he's in there. Would Detroit have made the playoffs without Kronwall? I'm gonna go with no. 49 points as a defenseman on the Red Wings. The next highest D-man on the Big D had 23. And he only missed 3 games, which I'm sure was very welcome in Detroit. And it's tough, but I think my pick is Duncan Keith. The problem with picking any of the Blackhawks for anything is because they're just so good. Oh, Jonathan Toews looks so good. Yeah, well, he's also got Marian Hossa and Patrick Sharp and Patrick Kane as a supporting cast. Oh, Duncan Keith. Yeah, well, he's also got Brent Seabrook and his band of merry men. Still, I gotta give it to Duncan, formerly No Teeth Keith, now currently Fake Teeth Keith. Last but not least, MVP. The Hart Memorial Trophy. The nominees are Sidney Crosby, Ryan Getzlaf, and Claude Giroux. I had Crosby and Giroux. I also had Jonathan Toews, Anze Kopitar, and Ben Bishop. No disrespect to Getzlaf, it's just, God, he's got that Batman and Robin thing with Corey Perry, and I know Jonathan Toews kind of has the same thing on Chicago. Maybe I'm a hypocrite. Look, you wanted my opinion, I'm giving you my opinion. It doesn't have to be right. Me being a Leafs fan isn't my opinion, it's just what I feel in my heart, which has grown cold as ice. Bishop's weird because I didn't give him the Vezina nod, but I'm giving him a Hart nomination. If we're talking about the most valuable player to his team, Ben Bishop. I voted on this before the playoffs happened, and I think the playoffs kind of confirmed it. I gave Bergeron the nod for the Selke, and then I take 2 guys he was nominated up against, Toews and Kopitar, and I give them a Hart nomination. Bergeron's no offensive slouch, but Kopitar and Toews, while being very responsible defensively, are legitimate scoring options. Elite scoring options, I would say. Not saying Bergeron isn't, I would rather go with those 2 right now. Claude Giroux, oh my god. Here's a guy, I'm like, oh my god, this guy can't buy a goal. I think his wrist is still mangled. Oh, Philly's screwed. They're not gonna make the playoffs. Only to just rise from the ashes and drag Philly into a playoff spot. Claude Giroux, team on his back though. If at the beginning of the season you asked me if he would be nominated for the Hart, I would say you're nuts. And now that it's the end of the season, you'd be nuts not to nominate him. But of course, the MVP, and I know nobody likes him, but too damn bad, Sidney Crosby. He had 104 points. Getzlaf finished second in that department and he had 87. So Crosby had 17 more points than the guy who finished second. Oh yeah, when the games didn't matter, but when the games mattered, he just in the playoffs. Sidney Crosby had 38 shots in 13 playoff games this year. He scored just 1 goal. That means he scored on 2.6% of his shots. His previous playoff worst shooting percentage was 10.2, and he had 2.6% this year. Anyone from Vegas want to give me the odds on that ever happening happening again ever. And that was just the playoffs. Ultimately, the Penguins are a team that always seem to be plagued with injury trouble. Never seem to be that set defensively. Always seem to have some sort of goaltending controversy. They just fired their coach. They just fired their GM. And yet, they are always a Stanley Cup contender. Why? Just that little chestnut of they have the best player in the world. But that's just my opinion. I gave you all my votes. What are yours? So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, click like. If you really liked it, click subscribe. Tell all your friends. And if you want internet that's as fast as mine, you go to techsavvy.com. And I will see you a lot in the upcoming week. But the season's over. Yeah, the awards, the draft, and free agency. Is it?